Hi guys, this is gsnome.com and I'm here with the review of the ASUS ZenFone 4 in the ZE554KL version. So we're dealing here with the definer of the series, the mid-range handset that gives the name to the entire series, that includes a couple of selfie phones, a couple of battery phones, and a pro phone. That's the flagship. So we were present at the debut of the phone in Europe, in Rome, at the end of September, and here we are at gsnome.com with its review. We've already unboxed it, and we also unboxed the ASUS ZenFone 4 Selfie Pro, so we're familiar with this range. And the phone you see here is priced at around $450, and it comes as a glass and metal sandwich with a brand new interface, and finally a dual camera within the ZenFone series. Now, design wise, let's check out the format first. So it's a 5.5 incher made of glass and metal, and it's got a very nice circular pattern at the back, which you can see here in reflections. It's beautiful. The camera doesn't protrude one bit. It measures 7.5 millimeters in thickness and weighs 165 grams. It's 0.2 millimeters slimmer than the ZenFone 3, and it's also 10 grams heavier. It's got a special diamond cut metal edge, 2.5D Gorilla Glass at the front and back, and 2.1 millimeter thick bezel. So basically a beautiful piece of work. It's more refined from the ZenFone 3, more elegant, and it's got a premium build. Now, as far as the screen is concerned, we're dealing with a 5.5 inch Super IPS Plus screen, so basically IPS LCD, but on a more evolved level. It's got a Full HD resolution. The bezels are not quite ultra minimalistic, but still reasonably slim, and we also have an oleophobic coating. Now we put this screen to the test, and let's see what came out of that experience. We got our typical sample here, which I'm going to analyze. So things are being bright and crisp. The contrast is good. We got wide view angles, and when I say the contrast is good, it's also good in the sunlight. I would say the colors are well calibrated, and I only feel that the image is a bit whiter than usual, like a layer of white was overlapped on the image. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the quality. Now, these are the pixels under the microscope, typical RGB stripes arrangement, and let's see what the lux meter showed. It showed us a value of 485 lux units, which is quite solid, and it beats the Samsung Galaxy A5 2017 and the Motorola Moto Z Play, but scored below the ASUS ZenFone 3 at 500 lux, and also below the Nexus 6P. Of course, we have an entire series of options and settings to calibrate the screen. Some of them are familiar because they're derived from the ASUS Splendid app, if you remember it. So brightness level, wallpaper, sleep, LED indicator, font size and style, display size, and finally screen color mode with a color temperature slider, this automatic option, balance, blue light filter with a slider, vivid and customize, letting you tweak the hue and saturations. Overall, pretty well calibrated screen. It's well within limits, and it's quite bright. Now let's talk about the other hardware. Now the handset has two versions. There's one with the Snapdragon 630 processor, one with the Snapdragon 660. We have the one with the Snapdragon 630 clocked at 2 GHz. You should also know that this handset comes with either 4 GB of RAM or 6 GB of RAM, LPDDR4X. We have the 4 GB RAM version, once again, just in case you were wondering. So a mid-range phone, typical mid-range phone with 64 GB of storage, micro SD card slot, and absolutely zero lag. No matter what you're doing, no matter how many apps are open in the background or which apps you're opening, I never encountered any lag, problem or delay. Apps start up fast, so zero problems here. Also, the gaming checks out. So we played Asphalt 3 Storm and it looked fine, and we played Riptide GP Renegade, also looked fine, with a bonus for the gamers, this special option, the Game Genie one. You can do live recording, macro search, and also offer it a speed boost for games to run better. So Riptide GP Renegade, our typical benchmark game, is here. Quick race, continue, and let's change the jet to this one. You can tell from the loading time, it's a fine device. Snapdragon 630 in action, and you can also get the Snapdragon 660 if you want extra performance. People have claimed there's a nickname for the Snapdragon 660. They are calling it the Snapdragon 835 Lite. That's how good it is. As you can tell, the graphics look amazing, excellent texture, excellent water rendition, and other things like brightness and the frame rate. Okay, happy with the gaming. Let's see what the benchmarks tell us. So We go here and we did the usual battery of tests. I'm talking about quadrant, Antutu and so forth. In quadrant, for example, we beat the Huawei P10 Lite and the Vernitor, but scored below the HTC One M8 and Samsung Galaxy A5 2016 edition. Now in Antutu, let's find it. It's this one here. We scored past the LG V10 and the ASUS ZenFone Zoom S, but below the Motorola Moto Z2 Play and the Lenovo Vibe X3. We continue with the 3D Mark Slingshot Extreme, which should be here somewhere. Let's track it down. It's a graphical benchmark, this one. And here we go. So this is the score we achieved. I'm guessing it's not this one. So let's check it out again. Work, performance. As you can tell, we have a lot of benchmarks, so it's hard to find something that you're looking for. Anyways, 3D Mark Slingshot Extreme. You should remember that in that one we were able to surpass the Samsung Galaxy A5 2017 edition, as well as the Sony Xperia XA1, which is no small feat. And oh, this is it. So finally the score. And in the meantime, we scored below the Huawei P10. We also did, out of curiosity, the famous Geekbench 4, and these are the scores. I would say quite solid for the multi-core one. In the multi-core one, we beat the LG G6 even and the Google Pixel XL, so that's fine. Overall, it's basically on the level of a 2015 flagship, if not a bit better. We also did some temperature tests. You can see them here. So we achieved 34.2 degrees Celsius after running Riptide GP Renegade, no overheating, and we also achieved 31.2 degrees Celsius after running GFX Bench, once again no overheating. When it comes to the battery, inside the phone there's a 3300 mAh battery with fast charge, and on paper up to 18 hours of web browsing are promised. By the way, the predecessor, the ZenFone 3, had a 3000 mAh battery, so this is an upgrade. Now let's see how we did in our test. Once again, I'm going to have to look it up, and we achieve a continuous HD video playback time of 10 hours and 14 minutes, which is quite solid, almost one whole season of TV shows. It beats the Sony Xperia XZ Premium and the ASUS ZenFone 3, the smaller version, but scores below the ASUS ZenFone 4 Selfie Pro and the ZenFone 3 Deluxe. Now let's talk about the PC Mark test. We also did that one. It's a continuous usage test, and I would say we fared quite fine, 9 hours and 13 minutes. It beats the ZenFone 3 5.2 incher and the Huawei Mate 8, but scores below the ZenFone 3 5.5 incher by 30 minutes, and also below the Huawei Nova. Charging requires 1 hour and 55 minutes. I would say it's fine, and it's also superior to the Google Pixel XL, but below the Huawei Honor 8. So we also did charging in steps. Well, 5 minutes equals 6%, and 15 minutes 16%, 30 minutes 35%. Of course, the battery has its own settings, and let's find them. So battery is here, and we got battery modes and battery optimization. The modes are performance, normal, power saving, super saving, and customized with its own tweaks. Basically all of them will adjust CPU, brightness, and the network, and that's about it. I would say a solid battery for a mid-ranger. Time to move on to acoustics. To my surprise, there's stereophony here, so one speaker at the bottom and the other is actually the earpiece, which you can see here. Okay, so stereo speakers, high resolution 24-bit acoustics, DTS technology for the headphones, dual noise cancelling microphones, but let's leave that aside and access play music, and let's actually play some music. Now, if you think this is loud, let's hear the difference with the outdoor mode. Okay, so you get the gist of it. We played around with the Audio Wizard app, which has a brand new interface, and it looks kind of fetching. And I would have to say that the experience involved an excellent voice. I was really blown away by the voice. There's a very catchy ASUS tune here. They're saying the name ASUS by letters. Anyways, a very loud, I have to say very loud, especially with outdoor mode. It gets a bit distorted at maximum volume with outdoors, but in general it's quite okay. No vibration of the back, solid bass, solid high notes, so big thumbs up from us. The headphones are very similar to what we got last year with the ZenFone 3. They're slightly angled, they have an excellent bass and sound, they're very comfy, so pretty okay for a mid-ranger. Now, we also did some decibel meter tests. We have them here, and I'm going to start off with the 87.4 decibel value achieved at the back and the front of the phone with an acoustic sample. This is superior to the LG G5 and the Sony Xperia XA1 Ultra. And the other test involves the game you saw before, Riptide. We achieved 97.4 decibels, which is high. In real life it actually seems higher. You should remember it beats the Samsung Galaxy S8 and the LG G6, which are flagships. Okay, enough with the acoustics, time to go to the camera. So finally, ASUS has debuted a dual camera phone. So dual back camera, 18 megapixel and 12 megapixel and 8 megapixel working in tandem. So the 12 megapixel sensor of this pairing is the Sony IMX362, which can be seen on the Motorola Moto Z2 Play and HTC U11. It's got dual pixel technology, f1 pointed aperture and 83-degree field of view. Now the other sensor is an 8 megapixel shooter with 120-degree wide angle lens, and we are offered 3-axis electronic stabilization for videos, and we should also have some sort of 4-axis OIS for the pictures. Now on the front side, of course, by the way, we also have a LED flash here. There is also face detection autofocus, RGB sensor, and that's about it. At the front, 8 megapixel shooter for the selfies, f2.2 aperture and selfie panorama in the mix. Now it's time to clean up the way the device functions and open up the camera. This is the camera interface. I'm going back to the cube, and as you can tell, we're alternating between the normal camera and the wide angle one, much like we did on the LG G6. For example, only the pictures here are a bit curvier in that mode. And finally, ASUS has redesigned its options area, its modes area. There are no longer a huge amount of modes, only the basic ones: beauty, super resolution, panorama, time-lapse, pro, GIF and slow motion. Plus, we also have a few settings here. Things like resolution, timestamp, touch shutter, video quality up to 4K, focus mode, guidelines, and that's about it. We also have a portrait mode, so you can create those beautiful shots that will blur things in the background to highlight the foreground. You know the drill already. There's also a quick access button here, so you can go to the pro mode and play with a variety of extra options. Now, enough with the camera. You should also remember that the focus is very fast here, as well as the picture taking, and boy, do we have a surprise for you. So we have taken quite a few shots, actually 380 of them. We were in Rome, and during our trip in Rome we actually put the phone to the test. I'm going to start with the daytime shots, and it all starts with a bit of selfie action. Here we go. So the selfies are very satisfying. I'm happy with the texture of the face, the brightness, and also the texture of the hair and the skin, and also the background. Some of the phones have good face texture, but they blur or burn the background. Now, these are the actual camera shots taken in Rome. You can tell the difference between regular shot and wide angle shot. You catch a lot more details here, once again much like we did on the LG G6, but this time only a bit curvier. I was very happy with the brightness here, the exposure, excellent dynamic range, and the colors, folks. The colors, I used to say that HTC and LG calibrated the colors the best. Well, this one actually feels a bit superior if you ask me. It does excellent color calibration. It's one of the few phones that will not object to taking shots with the sun in front of you. So no matter how many shots I took, selfies or back camera shots, and no matter how strong the sun was, we didn't have any problems with burns, and even the Galaxy S8 and Note 8 had problems with burns. Excellent level of detail even when you zoom in. Of course, if you do zoom in a lot, you will lose detail, but I would say I was pretty impressed by what we achieved here. You can also take selfies with that portrait mode activated, so you can blur what's behind you to highlight your face, much like I did here. So let's see. Several attempts, and quite a few selfies. Here we go. As you can see, people behind me are blurred to highlight the face. This is one of the best selfie shooters I've seen. I would place it in top 3, if not maybe among the 2 first I've tested so far. An excellent way of testing the dynamic range of the phone. A lot of crowded people in front of the Fontana di Trevi in Rome, and I would say that the results are stellar in color, in clarity, in whatever you want. We are happy with the results. Some indoor shots, good color calibration, brightness and all that. I feel a slight evolution from the ZenFone 3 that was already pretty solid, and we also played with some close-ups and portrait options, and I would have to say that we're quite happy with the results. Since we have 300 shots, I will not show them all to you. You should only remember that things are excellent here. Basically, sometimes you're getting close to a flagship level, circa 2015, let's say. It's great in the shade of the sun, perfect texture, great lighting, and one of the few phones that has zero problems with the sun. It excels in selfies and excels in colors. And it's a jump from the ZenFone 3, and it can easily fight the LG G6 and the Huawei P10, which are flagships, which people already know about. Now, these are the daytime shots, and in case you're wondering, you cannot fight the Galaxy S8 and Note 8, obviously, it's from a different area. Maybe the ZenFone 4 Pro can do that. And let's move on to the nighttime capture. So during the night, things are a little less impressive than during the day. There's a bit of a visible grain if you really go into the zoom, but in general, I was happy with the brightness, the color, the texture of the buildings, and if you zoom in, you will lose some details. If you turn the flash on, things are kept realistic in both lighting and color, so that's nice. And some pink hues appear every now and then. We have pretty big streetlight halos. At least these shots are not filled with yellow like I've seen on some other phones. Okay, so we remain with the idea that there is a bit of visible grain, but the brightness and the colors are pretty decent. It surpasses the ZenFone 3 by a bit. It feels about on par with the Huawei P10, maybe slightly below it, and it's a bit below the LG G6. That's the level. For a mid-ranger, it's quite fine. Check out this huge insect at night in a flower. That's not a bad capture, believe me. Now we are done with the photos. Let's talk about the videos, and once again we have a huge amount of videos taken in Rome. So you can go up to 4K. We got 60 frames per second in Full HD MP4, 30 frames per second, 20 mega per second. That's the standard benchmark type of shot we did. So here we go. We are looking for videos, and I'm going to start with this one. We are actually walking around in a busy town with a lot of people on a sunny day and a lot of shade around us. It becomes clear that the stabilization isn't the best in the world. Although the clarity remains untouched, there is a bit of refocus every now and then, but the dynamic range is excellent, the exposure change is perfect, and once again the colors are top-notch like in the photos. Okay, let's try another video, this one here with the tour guide talking about the beautiful capital of Italy. And even more videos are here. This is a 4K one, and it's basically perfect. I mean, really, what can you object here? Perfect colors, clarity, brightness, exposure, whatever you want, it's here. Excellent focus. And even more videos. Of course, we wouldn't miss Fontana di Trevi. 4K video again. There's a slight curvature when you're suddenly moving the camera. If you're standing still for a while and then you're suddenly moving it, that effect may appear. I love the way it changes the exposure from darker to brighter areas in a very subtle and very efficient way at the same time, so that's nice. I'm happy with the filming. It's able to fight the Sony Xperia XA1 and XA1 Ultra. It clearly goes above the ZenFone 3 in my book, and it can surpass most Motorola phones, and I would even say it surpasses the LG G6 in some areas because that one burned the videos. During the night things aren't so rosy actually. The low light videos are the weak point of the phone if you ask me. Could have been a bit better. Basically very grainy, big halos. The clarity is okay, the colors are okay, but things are dark, yellow, shaky and a bit grainy. Too much fuzz if you ask me. However, the daytime capture surely compensates for that. We're done with the camera, folks. Time to go to other things, and other things mean browser. We got Chrome here. We're not afraid to use it. So Chrome, let's load up gsmknown.com. Here we go. Not the fastest in the world, also confirmed by its benchmarks, Sunspider and Velamo, not the best results. Smooth scrolling though. And we also have the virtual keyboard, come on, which is here, supports swipe and is reasonably comfy. Time to discuss the connectivity. So we're dealing with a phone that has an USB Type-C port at the bottom. There's Wi-Fi dual band, Wi-Fi AC, MIMO, LTE category 12 or 13, NFC, Bluetooth 5.0. Everything is available here. There's Wi-Fi Direct, there's GPS, there's GLONASS, there's Galileo, so all the famous options are available here. Got dual SIM, dual standby setup, and I was actually shocked by the calls. They're excellent, loud and clear. The perk of having the speaker also used as the music speaker. Now we also have perfect microphones. People on the other side could hear me perfectly, zero noise, and with the speed test, so let's see what that panned out to. So speed test is here with excellent results. So in Wi-Fi testing, we went up to 198 megapsecond downloads, 26 megapsecond uploads, and in 4G, 89 megapsecond downloads, 64 megapsecond uploads. I would say we're doing quite fine. Now here we are again with something new, the OS and UI. This is Android Nougat with Zen UI 4.0 applied on top. And ASUS has decided to remove many of its pre-installed apps. People were complaining about that. They had 50 or 60 apps, now they only have about 30, so that's fine. The interface is more mature, no longer we have bubbles here. There were usually some childish bubbles. This time is more mature, more focused, more clear, more organized, but still some core items remain. We got the Google Now home screen, we got the multitasking via carousel, and you can also do a bit of split screen. Yes, you can do that, no problem. Okay, GSM Dome, and let's say settings, so you can mess around with the settings and the browser at the same time. Split screen action you are seeing here. Other things, keep press the home screen and you'll play with widgets, edit the home screen, wallpapers, Zen UI theme, lock apps, preferences, and more. As usual, ASUS offers a ton of options to customize your device in the range of folders, icons, grids, and so much more. Just have a look here maybe. Icon size, alignment, scroll effects, font size, icon label, font select, themes, and so much more. Other than that, the drop down portion I already told you includes notifications and quick settings. Now we actually go to the full settings and find the connectivity options, display, sound and vibration, ASUS cover, Zen UI safeguard with SOS and report location, special modes like easy mode and kids mode. There's ASUS customized settings like twin apps, having two instances of the same app open at the same time, Game Genie, which is the tool for gamers who want to stream on Twitch, Zen Motion with a one-hand mode and gesture motions, and so much more. You can draw letters to open up apps. We got a glove mode, you can use the device with a glove on, and OptiFlex, basically your way of cleaning up the memory, making the system run faster, snappier, more efficient. And finally, fingerprint scanner up front into the home button, so security. It's based on swipe right now. I'm going to go here, pin, no thanks. Here we go. Next, come on. It takes about 12 steps or something like that to record your print. And while the fingerprint scanner is quite accurate, it's not the fastest in the world, so here we go. As you can see, you're not sure it's unlocked until it actually happens. It takes maybe a half a second or a third of a second more than we're used to. Now, as far as the pre-installed apps are concerned, I told you before, I counted them all, there's 32 of them, that's nice. We got the standard Google apps, we got the ASUS apps, only a few of them, I cannot believe it. Calculator, file manager, sound recorder, weather and the cloud web storage, social networking stuff, camera, Chrome, contacts, gallery. There's mobile manager here to tweak your RAM, your functioning, your power master, security and all that. And a selfie master app with the collage and camera, video and beauty life features, so you can actually apply beautification on the go in a separate area from your main camera. So that's about it. Very happy with the experience on this phone. Actually, some stuff really impressed me, like the selfie, the main camera pictures, and also the functioning of the phone and the battery, plus the speakers, very powerful. Now it's time for the verdict. The pros and cons on the Pro, obviously. A very elegant phone with a unique effect, solid build. Speaking of solid pictures taken with the main camera and the front camera, great selfies, excellent acoustics, very high volume, a pretty good battery, and good performance. It can fight flagships from 2 years ago. It's got a bright screen, it doesn't have bloatware anymore, it's got a more mature UI. And if you want to talk about other things, well, on the con side, it's a bit pricey, so maybe if it drops $50, it's the ideal phone to get in the mid-range area. Low light video and photo capture should be a bit better. There's some refocusing when walking around and filming. And I should also mention that the fingerprint scanner is a bit on the slow side, and some of the wide shots with the secondary camera are a bit curved. In the end, it's a well-balanced phone, it's got no major deal breaker, and it's a rival for the Motorola Moto Z2 Play maybe, and for the Huawei Honor 9 for sure. It's an evolution from the ZenFone 3, it's more refined in software and design, it's got an improved camera and improved performance, so what more could you want? So basically it's solid gold if you want a mid-ranger. Wait for the price to drop a bit and it's the perfect choice for the end of the year 2017. This is it from gsnmo.com. This has been the review of the ASUS ZenFone 4. Bye bye.